What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Dude Ranch DIY. My name is Jake, and this is my new and improved Baumalight TRL 630D mini skid steer. Now, if you guys have been following along with the channel, a couple weeks back, right before Christmas, you might have seen the video that I said I was sending this thing back to Baumalight up in Canada. And that's true, but a lot of people kind of jumped to conclusions as to why I was sending it back. Yes, I did have a minor hydraulic leak that Baumalight fully took care of. No, sending it back to Canada to the manufacturer is not my only option, or was not my only option. However, it is the option I decided to choose to go with and the route I decided to go with, because not only were they going to be fixing this here machine with that hydraulic leak, but they made some pretty big improvements upon this design over the course of the last year that I've had this machine. And today the machine sits at about 90 hours, and I've never really dove into my true and honest thoughts of the machine. Now, if you follow along with the channel, you probably have seen it in a bunch of videos, so you know, well, obviously, he likes it. And yes, I do like it. And I just want to preface this whole video, if you're new to the channel, this machine was given to me for promotional purposes by Baumalight. They said, we would like to give you this machine, use it as if it was your own, and let us know your feedback. So that's exactly what I've been doing for the past year, and that's exactly what I'll continue to do. But I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of discuss my thoughts thus far in the 90 hours of operation that I've used this thing, because I've used it for a ton of different types of jobs, and I've really grown accustomed to using it. It is my go-to machine. It's kind of like my right-hand man when Chris isn't here. And I have really, for the most part, nothing but good things to say about this machine. So there were three major things that Baumalight did to improve this machine. The first and foremost being the 2-speed. You'll see this new decal here. You'll also notice that the model has changed from a 620D to a 630D. To my knowledge, this Baumalight mini skid steer is the first mini skid steer to have a true 2-speed hydrostatic transmission, if you will. If you're familiar with full-size skid steers and excavators and stuff of that nature, they have a regular operating speed, like a turtle mode, and then a lot of the time they have a rabbit mode for transporting or getting from one part of the job to the other. And now this machine has taken that technology from its bigger brothers and counterparts and implemented it into this small package. So that is a huge game changer. The machine, as you saw me pulling in, it moves. It goes 8.8 kilometers per hour. For those of you in America, that's 5.5 miles per hour, which might not seem a lot, you know, if you're comparing it to like being in a car. But if you're standing on the back of this little thing, 5.5 miles per hour is pretty darn fast. The speed of this machine before this upgrade was probably my biggest gripe about it. Simply for the fact that I have a decent sized property here. I'm always shuffling these firewood totes around, going from back here in the wood yard to out front in the firewood stand, and from under the conveyor to where they get, you know, placed for drying and seasoning. And the machine was just slow. Now, by no means would you be operating this thing at full speed with, say, a full basket of firewood on the front of the forks, because let's face it, that's just dumb. But you know, when you're unloaded and you're going from point A to point B, those extra couple miles an hour you know, over the course of days, weeks, years, will save you a bunch of time. So to my knowledge, I think this is the only mini skid steer brand out there that's currently offering it. So that is a awesome feature. The second thing, and I'll show you up close in a minute, that they did, it was an ergonomic, operator comfort type of thing. They changed up the operator platform to be more cushioned. It is now a much more cushiony, much more suspension-based operator platform. The old one had a operator presence switch, just like most machines, you know, have a lap bar, or on the excavator you have to push down the lever. This machine, you know, when you would hop off of it, that operator presence platform and switch would, you know, get lifted up, and it basically kills the pumps and the hydraulics. So you can't accidentally bump into it, you know, the lever, and the machine, you know, go and react. So that is great. But this new platform is it offers a lot more suspension and give, and it's adjustable for different size operators. You know, if you're a bigger guy that's, you know, 250 pounds and you're on this thing all day, you want to be able to, you know, adjust that tension. That way it's giving you a cushiony ride. Or if you're a smaller guy like me, I'm about 180 pounds, you can, you know, adjust it so that it's a little bit more cushion, so that you're not, you know, bouncing around quite as much throughout the day. Hey everybody, today I want to talk to you about my poop. I've been taking AG1 now for the past month, and what it is a multivitamin, and it's super easy to take. You can take it in one of these convenient travel packs, or you can take a scoop out of the canister, dump it into their little shaker, add 8 to 12 ounces of water, shake it up, and down the hatch.
Okay, it's not coffee, but it's not bad tasting. You'd think because of the color it would taste more like vegetables, but it doesn't. It kind of tastes like vanilla.
Since I've been taking it, I have noticed a big change in my immune system and gut health and my overall energy in the morning. I typically drink quite a bit of coffee, and since I've been taking AG1, I'm not drinking quite as much coffee in the morning, which probably also helps my immune system and gut health. The other reason I really like AG1 is because, as a lot of you guys know, we have a newborn baby, and being in the peak of flu season and the middle of the winter, keeping myself and Sarah's health in tip-top shape is of our utmost concern. We want to keep that baby nice and healthy, so by supplementing our immune system and overall bodies with beneficial vitamins that AG1 provides, we've noticed a big difference, and I think we're helping out our newborn child. If you guys are interested in AG1, consider clicking the link down in the description, or scan the QR code that's on the screen right now, and you will receive $20 off your first subscription to AG1. Again, I want to thank them for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. Third big thing that they did was they changed out the lift cylinders here. Now, the lift cylinders aren't any more powerful than they used to be. It still has its same lift capacity, which for a machine of this size is pretty darn, you know, large, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But what these new cylinders do is they changed up the rod size and the cylinder, so like the bore and the rod, and now it is a faster cylinder. So you can go from all the way down to all the way up more quickly, which you might be saying, you know, well, why is that important? Well, from a safety standpoint, if you're carrying a load and you need to adjust that load because something's falling off the pallet or the machine starts to tip, it's really important to be able to drop that load down to the ground as fast as possible. So, you know, while being safe, of course. And it's also nice, you know, if you're constantly, you know, day after day or you know, repetition after repetition, shoveling gravel or dirt and loading it into the back of a dump trailer or a dump truck, just all of that up and down, this will save you time throughout the course of the day. So they did all three of those things, as well as fixing the hydraulic leak. And you know, as the weeks progress and I get more accustomed to these changes, I'll touch on that in future videos. But to be brutally honest, right now, I don't have much, you know, seat time with these new features to let you know my thoughts on them. But just from, you know, judging a book by its cover, for lack of a better term, this thing is fast. The first thing you notice about this thing is its size. It really isn't all that large of a footprint. You know, these machines are known to be small. That's kind of the whole point. They can access properties and areas that larger tractors and full-size skid steers could never even dream of getting into. They're very nimble. They're very agile because of the track system. They can turn on a dime. And that is the name of the game when, you know, doing the type of work that I do. Tree work is constantly all about accessibility and how close you can get your equipment to the tree is highly indicative of how hard that job is going to be and ultimately the price that you have to charge to get the job done. And money is the name of the game. So by having a small piece of equipment like this that can get access to a backyard through a 36-inch gate and lift more than me or two of my guys could lift in combination is a huge game changer. This thing with this big grapple makes an awesome brush dragger. It makes an awesome log loader. I have used it on countless tree jobs in past videos, you know, loading up big logs into the dumpster can, into the dump trailer. But tree work isn't the only thing that one of these is good for. One of my favorite uses for it, and probably the thing that I use it the most, is just around here in the wood yard for material handling. You slap a set of pallet forks on this thing, and not only can I pick up logs and bring them over to the Eastonmade wood splitter, I can pick up the totes off the end of the conveyor and move them all around, bring them out to the firewood stand, load that up. It's just, you know, like the uses, once you have one, the uses for it are endless. And because of its maneuverability and size, it makes it super easy to get into tight spaces and stack up all my totes in nice, neat rows. So palletized and material handling is a huge strong suit for a machine like this. Now that I've had it for about a year, I'm always amazed at all the attachments that they offer for these things. I have a grapple for it. I have a stump grinder for it. I have a clamshell grapple for it. I have a bucket. We got pallet forks. You know, the list goes on and on. I have rented a jackhammer, you know, like a rock hammer for this thing. I've rented a post hole digger for a little fence job that I was helping out a buddy with. And this machine ran those implements flawlessly. And the best part is you go to your local rental yard, and because of the mini skid steer, the universal mini skid steer adapter plate, you can go and rent any of those attachments that would go on, you know, any of the competitors' machines, because they all have, for the most part, this universal mini skid steer adapter, which just, you know, opens up your horizons to a lot of different jobs that you could do with a piece of machinery like this. Now, serviceability and ease of serviceability are two things that I always look at a machine or on a machine, and this Baumalight has it down pretty darn well. You can see here underneath the boom, you have your main hydraulic cooler there, and you have these big star, you know, hand crank bolts, and you just take two of those out and the whole thing lifts up and you have access to clean out your hydraulic cooler. If we come around to the back here, you'll see more of those same hand crank style knobby bolts to access all of your, you know, hydraulic connections behind the padded bolster there. And then down in here, you have access to your battery, hydraulic filter, both, you know, hydraulic motors that power the tracks, as well as various, you know, hydraulic connections and stuff like that. You can see here, they even offer extra fuses and like a little storage compartment there. And you'll see that they have a YouTube channel with a QR code. Now, that's the thing that I really liked about Baumalight and that kind of set them apart from the other big name brands that make mini skid steers, is that the Baumalight website is a great resource if you're kind of like a do-it-yourselfer kind of guy. They have videos on basically every type of service point you could ever need to reference on this machine, on their YouTube page or on their website. They have videos on how to change a track, how to grease and service the machine, how to change a wheel motor, how to, you know, replace seals in a hydraulic cylinder, you know, all different stuff related to these machines is on their website. And it makes it really nice because they're quick, short, concise, step-by-step instructions on how to do anything that you might need to do throughout the course of ownership with these machines. Now earlier I mentioned the whole brand new 2-speed hydrostatic transmission system in this machine, and it goes fast, which, you know, who doesn't like to go fast? But let's talk about going slow, because the cool feature about this new system is that when you're in that rabbit mode and you need to, you know, slow down to turn, or you need to slow down to come to a stop, it's not super jerky. It senses somewhere in this machine, there's a sensor of some sort that senses that you're coming down and slowing to a stop, and it doesn't jerk you around. It kind of slowly comes to a stop or slowly eases into the turn. And same for when you're, you know, taking off from a standstill. It doesn't just go like a Tesla would. It kind of slowly creeps, and then as you're moving forward and gaining momentum, it, you know, somehow increases and like ramps up that power to the tracks. It was funny because I kind of equated it to when you hear a big lifted truck or a Jeep or something going down the road, you hear that like the whirring of the big tires. Well, it's almost the same here on my asphalt millings with these tracks, because now the machine goes fast enough where you can actually hear the tracks on the frozen asphalt millings going like whirring. So that's pretty funny. The cool thing about the turtle mode, that's like your bulldozing mode. That's when you have a lot of low-end grunt and torque. So if you're going into a pile of gravel or you're going into a pile of dirt with a bucket, it senses that and it'll put more power to the tracks, more pushing power. If you're grading out a lawn and you're kind of scraping off that topsoil layer or that organic matter layer, or even digging down into hard packed ground, it will put more power to the tracks to help the motor in the machine not stall out. So that's a pretty cool feature. It kind of, you know, gives you power when you need it, or gives you speed when you need it, and gives you, you know, low end power when you need it as well. I will say that in the past year of having this machine, the tractor has gotten a lot less hours put on it, just because this thing is so easy to hop on and off. Now, I've seen in the comments several times over the past year, oh, I'm paying $35,000 for a machine and it doesn't even come with a seat. Well, buddy, that's the whole point. Watch this. Do you get it now? It takes about 1 second to hop up and hop off of this machine. You're not climbing up stairs, sitting down in a seat, you know, getting acclimated. It's just on and off. And that is the whole benefit to a mini skid steer. If you're working by yourself and you're doing, you know, the work of both an operator and a laborer, you're saving yourself a considerable amount of time versus hopping up, getting into and contorting your body into the seat of a skid steer, or hopping up, stepping up, you know, the steps, sitting down in the seat of your tractor. By just simply hopping up on the back of this thing and stepping off, you can go grab your shovel, load up your bucket, move your material, whatever you need to do, and then be back to work in a jiffy, which is a huge benefit of one of these style machines. So if you find yourself getting on and off or in and out of your piece of equipment, you know, say 20, 30 times a day, that can equate to several minutes throughout the day that you were wasting getting in and out of your machine. Whereas with one of these, you can just hop on and hop off. So guys, if you couldn't tell, the past 90 hours of having this machine, I have really enjoyed owning it and being able to use it. It has allowed me to do several jobs that probably would have been a lot tougher to do if I had not have had this thing. I have done jobs stump grinding, post hole digging, rock hammering, grading dirt, moving logs, pulling over trees, splitting firewood. You know, really the list goes on. And the more time that you have a machine like this, the more uses you find for it. So if you have any questions about this machine, feel free to drop a comment or shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that I'm able to answer. If not, I can always refer you to the proper people up at Baumalight, who I'm sure can answer any questions. But all in all, this has been a great machine, and I'm really excited to continue putting hours on it with these new and improved features. And I think it's a great sign that in as little as a year, Baumalight has developed the machine further to the point where they were like, hey Jake, we want to take back the machine, put these upgrades on it, and let us know what you think. I mean, that's a great sign, you know, of a progression of a company moving forward and trying to improve their product and stay relevant and stay competitive, because, you know, competition drives innovation. So as always, guys, I hope you liked this video. Give it a big thumbs up if you did. If you're new to the channel, consider clicking that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. Any questions, comments, or feedback, drop it down in that comment section. But for now, I'm Jake. This is Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here next time.